Witness there is the Lakhovsky multi-wave oscillator. That's actually not the real one. It's a portable version of it, and it still uses a single Tesla coil, one spark gap. It has just a sending coil. It doesn't have the receiving coil, but it's still, I think fairly potent. And I've been running an experiment with it actually for the last few months, is like anti-aging and stuff, and I don't really see anything like along those lines. But I feel like I have more energy. But I just want to point out something I've noticed, and I just noticed, and I wasn't really like looking too hard, but I'll get to it in a minute. But first, I just want to backtrack on a couple things. Besides the Lakhovsky multi-wave oscillator, that's actually been known for strengthening the body. It uses a Tesla coil. It was developed by Georges Lakhovsky, a Russian scientist, but he got the idea from Nikola Tesla too. Now, the thing is, because he uses a Tesla coil, and I think he could kind of like maybe talk with Nikola Tesla too when he ran into some problems, but he worked on it for a number of years, and it was his own patents. But the device actually has been noted for not necessarily healing per se, but strengthening the body enough where the body overcomes problems, even bad problems like cancer and stuff, right? That's what supposedly it's been done, and this was observed by medical professionals back in the 30s and 40s. But what they've also observed was it reversed gray hair, it reversed balding, and the theory behind it is that it strengthens and rejuvenates the body. So therefore, whatever problem the body had, it shakes it off, I guess, whatever. But I do have to say that, there's a lesser type of device like that they call the violet ray. It's like a mini Tesla coil. It uses like a bulb that has like a violet ray in it. They have like these violet ray combs they can use that comb through their hair. Actually, I know somebody's grandfather used to use that, and he had like very thick hair. That's what I was told, But the AMA considered that a quackery device and labeled it a quackery device for all medical purposes in 1952. But it was allowed to be continued for cosmetic purposes since then, and it's still allowed to be sold today for like healing the skin, reducing wrinkles, blemishes, scars, or whatever the hell it is, And that's the violet ray. Basically like a lesser Tesla coil, not as strong as a Lakhovsky multi-wave oscillator. So here's what I was getting at. I don't look at myself in the mirror all the time. I just real quick, I don't like say, what's this, what's that, I'm looking here, whatever. But I took note of my hair color like about a month ago, and I noticed, it was coming in here like really, really gray over here. And I'll put some stuff in it and it makes it darker. I just do it a little bit where it doesn't kill all the gray, but it gets rid of some of it, And I noticed today, I looked, that same spot that was coming in like pure gray, this is from a month ago, it's coming in a mixture of brown and gray. So I'm like looking, I looked again later today, I'm looking at my hair like this, is it coming in gray on the bottom? I'm like, no. And I just looked again an hour ago, I'm like looking at it like, is it coming in gray down in here or something? And it's not like super clear cut though, or I could say definitely this is working. And to tell you the truth, I'm skeptical and I don't really want to believe it's working, but objectively it seems to be. But I definitely want to keep going with this experiment. I'm actually using this an hour a day, 3 20-minute sessions, and keep going with this experiment so I could say definitely it's working. I find it a little too incredible. And not 100% sure to tell you. I'm looking at it, I'm saying this is what's going on. This is what's going on. Because by this time I'd already put some stuff in there to get rid of some of the gray, and I'm like, it don't look like it's getting that color. Like it's got a little bit of gray in there, but it's not doing that much. So I don't know what the deal is. But I'll tell you what I'm doing though, and I'm doing this where I'm putting my head or face close to that coil where I could actually feel a little bit of the tingling on it, and you got to be very careful you don't get zapped. And I actually wear these tanning bed glasses, sunglasses, so you don't the UV rays from because that thing is like real bright light. The UV rays don't harm your eyes because you don't want to look at those lights, you know, the sparks. There's a lot of UV rays in there, but I don't know. It sure seems like it's freaking working, and it's not. I wish I could say guaranteed, because guaranteed it's working, which means there's no gray hair, period, none. And it's a year later, there's none. But it's sure, from what I'm looking at right now, it's like I wasn't really paying attention to this too much, and I just happened to notice. It says, that's weird. That's weird. Remember, this was all coming in over here, more like a lot more white color, and it's got a mixture. That was like a month ago, or maybe over a month ago. So every once in a while, I have to put a little stuff in there to kind of like get a little more brown in there, right? And it's not like it's not needed. So I don't know. I remember like Robert Seebeck, PhD or doctorate of science. He was the one that pushed that Beck electrifier thing, Beck blood zapper. But back in 1963, he rediscovered the Lakhovsky multi-wave-ossicilator and found one in a Southern California hospital. And he said out of everything he checked was 120-something New Age, devices. They're all placebo BS, except that thing. And the reason he said it was legit was because not only did it work on people, but it worked on animals. And in other words, sometimes a person could actually be subjected to something. I could say, hey, I'm going to give you some, I'm going to ring this bell in front of you or something. If a person thinks this is a magic bell, they can, and subjectively in their mind, just by having the right attitude, sometimes they can actually heal themselves. They can actually, person's mind can actually heal the body by having the right attitude. So if you believe something's going to work, it can actually have a physical effect where it works. But where he showed that the Lakhovsky coil was not BS in any way, shape, or form, was that when he used it on animals, it worked. Because the animal didn't understand what was going on. So he used it on, like an example he gave was he used it on a 15-year-old police dog that they were going to put to sleep because the dog was dragging its hind legs. And he used this thing on, I don't know how long they had to use it or how many treatments, but the thing was jumping around and running around like a puppy after so many treatments. And it was fine for the next couple of years. So, that was per him. And he made his own devices that were like a portable version that you can put in a briefcase and all this kind of stuff. And, you can carry it with you a lot easier and stuff. Supposedly his device worked pretty well too. But, I have a tendency to believe, like when he talked about he got rid of his cancer, he might have used this thing. I don't know. He claims he used the Beck Zapper, that little thing you can make for like $50 worth of Radio Shack components. He claimed he did it with that. I tend to think he might have used something else. That's my guess, but I don't know if that's for sure. And he said he used a magnetic pulsar to grow his hair back. And now, I did see the old photographs of him where he was bald, and he had almost a full head of hair years later. So something made his hair grow back. He said he used a magnetic pulsar. And I'm thinking he might have used this thing, the multi-wave oscillator. Now, the one I have is not the full real one, the real McCoy. And I don't want to make any outlandish claims out there because I find this hard to believe that, I'm thinking, probably the real one would be the one that really would work. And maybe you got to use it like several hours a day or something. I don't know. But here I'm using a portable version of this thing for an hour a day, 3 20-minute sessions. And I don't know. I don't think it's my imagination that I'm seeing it where, I could have sworn, this was like really white colored hair and it's got brown mixed in it. And I'm looking, it seems like by this time I'd already be putting some stuff in my hair to make it a little bit darker. And it's not doing that. And I'm not 110% sure, but because I don't want to believe it, to tell you the truth. But it sure does, I'm being very objective about it because I didn't expect results like this already. So I'm just going to keep you posted on this because maybe in a few months I'll know for sure. I don't want to freaking say something for sure when I don't know, but it sure, it sure is looking that way. You can tell I really don't want to believe it. I really don't want to believe it would work that damn good. So, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I can tell you one thing. It seems like I have a hell of a lot more energy with this Lakhovsky coil. I don't know why that is. And I know that's a subjective thing, but it seems I have more energy. So, I think it's a very useful device. And I'm glad I kind of just stumbled upon this thing and I, doing this experiment. But, if... Well, actually, I guess it wouldn't be too bad to claim that it... I don't sell this stuff or anything, but it wouldn't be too bad to claim that it works for cosmetic purposes because they do allow the violet ray for cosmetic purposes, too. And that's... I don't know. But, a lot of people just won't have the dedication to use it for an hour a day. And I'm talking consistently, 3 times a day, 20 minutes a day, and you have to get pretty damn close to it. You got to be careful you don't get too close to it because you'll get zapped. You get zapped. So there's actually a lot of work involved with this. But I can tell you, I think I wish I could say absolutely certain because, it's almost like I'm a doubting Thomas. It's almost like somebody, the disciples or something, said, hey, we saw Jesus. I'm like, yeah, right. I'll believe it when I stick my finger in his wound, right? That's kind of like where I'm coming from right now. I'll believe it when I don't have any gray hair, period. That's almost how I'm looking at it. But, I swear I've been noticing a big difference. So I don't want to steer anybody wrong about this crap, though. That's the thing. Because I'm not 110% sure, but I swear I'm noticing a big difference, and I'm pretty surprised.